Jai Hind. Myself Ravindra Kumar from EN department, Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. I am presenting the topic superposition theorem today. This is in the first unit of the subject basic electrical engineering, and the unit name is DC circuits. So, before going to this, in the previous lectures of this lecture series, I have taken or I have discussed the topics regarding different circuit elements, Kirchhoff's laws, then conversion from star to delta or delta to star, then mesh analysis in order to simplify the circuit, and the nodal analysis for solving the circuit. And that means we have performed different techniques for simplifying or solving a given circuit to us. And when we solve the circuit, that time we find the current in the different branches or in the different elements connected in the circuit, and also we find the voltage across the various elements or across the branches which are in the circuit. So, in the same sequence, if we go further, we can simplify the circuit also using the different theorems which are known as circuit theorems or network theorems. And in this again we find current or voltage in any branch of a given circuit. So, here in this lecture I will discuss about the superposition theorem, what is in this under which I will discuss what is superposition theorem, how to apply this superposition theorem in a given circuit, and using this how to find the current or voltage in any given element or in any given branch of a circuit. So, if we go further, we can see first thing, if a given complex circuit that is there available with us, we want to simplify this circuit with the help of circuit analysis. So, previously discussed method, by the help of that also we can simplify, like we can simplify the given circuit with the help of mesh analysis or loop analysis, and also we can simplify the circuit using nodal analysis, plus if it is possible to simplify the circuit with the help of series parallel reduction of the circuit, that way also we can simplify the circuit. But here in this topic today, I will go for the application of superposition theorem in order to simplify a given circuit. So, what we do here, we apply circuit theorems for simplifying the circuits. So, there are different circuit theorems, like we have superposition theorem, Thevenin theorem, Norton's theorem, reciprocity theorem, intelligence theorem, compensation theorem. So, there are various theorems by the help of which we can analyze or we can simplify the circuit in order to find the current or voltage across any branch of the circuit. So, in this topic today, we will discuss superposition theorem, how to apply this in the circuit. So, first we should see what is superposition theorem. So, if we go for the definition of the superposition theorem, we see what is the definition which is given in this: the current through or the voltage across an element in a linear bilateral network is equal to the algebraic sum of the currents or the voltages which are produced independently by each source. The meaning to say is, suppose we are interested in finding the current through any branch or through any element, or we are interested in finding the voltage across any element or across any branch. For that, one thing, circuit should be linear and bilateral, and then this current or voltage will be given as algebraic sum of the currents or the voltages which are there due to the each source acting alone in the circuit, or in other words we can say this is equal to the algebraic sum of the currents or the voltages which are produced independently by each source acting alone. Now, what is the advantage? This is regarding the definition of the superposition theorem. Now, by applying this theorem, what advantage we get? We can see The superposition theorem is helpful in determining the voltage across any element or the current through a branch when the circuit is containing multiple number of voltage or current sources. And for this, when we are applying this superposition theorem in a circuit, minimum number of voltage or current sources, that must be 2 in a circuit, and more than 2 it may be many sources in the circuit, but minimum number of sources must be 2. So, that is why it is written there that the circuit should contain multiple number of voltage or current sources when we are applying superposition theorem in a circuit, and with the help of it we can find the voltage across any element or across any branch, or the current through the branch or current through the element with the help of it. So, if we go further, the steps or say the procedure which is applied for applying the superposition theorem in a circuit, under this we can see the circuits which are containing only the independent sources. Since circuit may also contain dependent sources, but this time we are discussing about when the circuit is only having independent sources, that time what we are to do when we are applying superposition theorem in the circuit. So, the steps for this are: number 1, consider only one source to be active at a time. That means, at a time we are to apply only one source of energy in the circuit, and at the same time, as we are seeing in the second step, remove all the other ideal voltage sources by short circuit and all the other ideal current sources by open circuit. That means, we will turn off all the other voltage sources and current sources which are there in the circuit. Only we are to consider one source at a time, and as it is written that ideal voltage sources, they are to be short circuited, since the internal resistance of ideal voltage source is 0. So, when we are to turn off this ideal voltage source, so that time it should be replaced by short circuit in order to make the voltage of the source 0. Similarly, if it is ideal current source and we are to turn off the ideal current source, then it should be open circuited, so that the current of the ideal current source will become 0. Reason being, there is infinite internal resistance of the ideal current source which is connected in parallel to the current source. All these things we have discussed in the very first lecture of this series of DC circuit. So, why we are taking this is here ideal voltage and ideal current sources, since the 0 internal resistance for ideal voltage source and infinite internal resistance for ideal current source. On the other hand, if it is a practical voltage and current source, that time the voltage source, that will be voltage of the source will be made 0, and the internal resistance will be remaining as it is in the circuit when we are to turn off the practical voltage source in the circuit. Similarly, if it is a practical current source, it is having finite value of internal resistance. So, when we are to turn off a practical current source in a circuit, that time the current of the source will be made 0 by opening the current source, and the internal resistance of the current source will remain as it is in the circuit. So, like in the diagrams also it is shown there. In the left hand side diagram, we can see a voltage source is given or a battery is there which is having EMF E, and when we are turning off this voltage source or this battery, that time it is short circuited. So, this voltage source is replaced by short circuit. That means, the EMF of this source is made 0, so that it cannot provide any energy to the circuit in which it is connected. Similarly, on the right hand side diagram we can see, if it is a current source, that time to turn off this current source we open circuit it, so that the current from the source becomes 0, and in that way again this source will not be able to provide any energy to the circuit in which it is connected. So, that way we deal with the ideal voltage and current source or practical voltage and current source when we are to turn off those sources. So, finally, we see when the number of sources are there in the circuit and we are to apply superposition theorem, that time one source at a time will be considered, and at the same time the other sources they are to be turned off. So, here if we see further, these are the steps which we are to apply when we are applying the superposition theorem in the circuit, and that we have seen earlier that what we do next after this, one by one we will consider all the sources which are there in the circuit, and we will find the current through any particular branch or the voltage across any particular branch using each source of energy in the circuit. And then finally, the current or the voltage produced, they are found, and then the resultant current or the resultant voltage in the branch will be given as the algebraic sum of all these currents or the voltages which are produced independently by each source acting alone. So, that way we use superposition theorem or we apply superposition theorem in a given circuit. So, like this in this question or in this example, we can see we want to apply superposition theorem here in order to find the current through the resistance R3, which is of 10 ohm. So, in this circuit if we see, we are having two voltage sources, one is V1 which is of 15 volt battery, second is V2 which is of 13 volt battery, and three resistances are there which are connected in this circuit, that are R1, R2 and R3. R1 is of 100 ohm, R2 is 20 ohm and R3 is 10 ohm, and we are to find the current through R3 using the superposition theorem in this circuit. We can also apply here mesh analysis in this circuit. It is having two meshes. We can apply nodal analysis or we can apply Kirchhoff's law in order to find the current. But here if we are applying superposition theorem, then what we are to do, since the two sources are there, so we will consider one source at a time. So, we will repeat the exercise two times for considering one source at a time only, and there are two sources, that is why we will have this exercise two times. So, in first case what we do, we consider first voltage source of 15 volt, that is V1, and at the same time the second voltage source V2, that is short circuited, so that the voltage of this source V2 becomes 0 and it will not be able to supply any energy or any current in the circuit. So, the circuit is shown after short circuiting the V2. So, now we can see from the circuit R2 and R3, they becomes in parallel, and the equivalent of these two, that becomes in series with R1. So, we find the equivalent resistance that way. So, the parallel of R2 and R3 will become 20 into 10 upon 20 plus 10, and that is in series with R1. So, that is added with 100 ohm. So, we get the equivalent resistance in this circuit as 106.7 ohm after calculations. So, the current supplied from the 15 volt will become 15 upon 106.7, and that comes out as 0.141 ampere. Now, we are to find the current in R3. So, we can find this current using parallel current division rule, since R2 and R3 they are connected in parallel. So, the current through R3 will be given by this total current IT into R2 upon R2 plus R3, or this will become the current through R3 will become 0.141 into 20 upon 20 plus 10, and on calculation we get this current equal to 0.094 ampere, and the direction of this current will be vertically downward as per the connection of the battery in the circuit. So, that way we find this current using 15 volt voltage source acting alone in this circuit. Next time, what we will do, we consider second voltage source which is of 13 volt, and at the same time the first voltage source V1, that is short circuited, which is shown in the diagram. So now if we see in this circuit, after short circuiting this first voltage source V1, we find R1 and R3, they are in parallel, and the equivalent of these two, that is in series with R2. So the equivalent resistance becomes R2 plus R1 into R3 upon R1 plus R3, or it becomes 20 plus 10 into 100 upon 10 plus 100. So this equivalent resistance after calculation comes out as 29.09 ohm. And after this, if we find the current supplied by the battery of 13 volt or the voltage source V2, that will become 13 upon 29.09, which comes out as 0.447 ampere. And now the current which is passing through R3, that can be found again using parallel current division rule, that will be given by this total current IT into R1 upon R1 plus R3, or it will become 0.447 into 100 upon 110, and on calculation this current comes out to be 0.406 ampere. So in this way, in the previous slide we have seen, we have found the current in R3 using the first voltage source V1 only. That time V2 is short circuited and this current is coming as 0.094 ampere. In the second case, we have considered only the V2 voltage source, short circuiting the first voltage source V1, and again we have found this current passing through R3, which is coming as 0.406 ampere. So finally, the current in the R3 using superposition theorem will be the algebraic sum of these two currents which we have found using the two sources acting at different times, but one source at a time only. So if we see it, these two currents are there, 0.094 ampere and 0.406 ampere already we have found, and both are vertically downward. So the resultant current through R3, that will be the sum of these two currents. So the sum of these two currents, that will become 0.094 ampere plus 0.406 ampere, and that comes out as 0.5 ampere. So this is the current through R3 with the help of superposition theorem. And if we find the same current using any other method like Kirchhoff's law or using mesh analysis or nodal analysis, we will get the same result, and which we are finding using this superposition theorem. So that way we apply superposition theorem in a given circuit and solve the circuit for finding the current in any branch or the voltage across any branch with the help of it. And the conditions which are applied already we have discussed. Circuit should be linear, bilateral, and there should be multiple energy sources. The minimum number of sources must be 2. Similarly, if we go for some other examples, we can also take how to solve the circuit using the superposition theorem. So in the previous example, we have seen there both the sources, they were voltage sources V1 and V2, and they were having the voltages, and then we have applied the superposition theorem in order to find the current in any branch. Now in this case, now what we are having here, we are having two energy sources again, but out of that one is voltage source which is of 6 volt, and second source is current source of 3 ampere, and the two resistances are there in the circuit. One is of 4 ohm resistance and another one is of 8 ohm resistance, and here we are to find the voltage across 4 ohm resistance using the superposition theorem. So same method will again be applied. We will consider one source at a time and we will find the current through 4 ohm and then the voltage with the help of that. Similarly, second time we will consider the second source and find the current through 4 ohm and the voltage across 4 ohm with the help of that. And finally, using the superposition theorem, we will be able to find the voltage across 4 ohm resistance in this way. So here, if we go further, first we apply 6 volt voltage source in the circuit, or we consider 6 volt voltage source in the circuit. That time the current source is turned off. That means it will be made open circuit, and then we will find the current and voltage in the branch. So here we see in the first case we are considering 6 volt voltage source and current source is open circuited. So circuit is shown in the diagram. So that time the 8 ohm resistance and 4 ohm resistance, they are connected in series across 6 volt voltage source, and suppose the voltage across 4 ohm resistance is V1 with the polarities that are shown in the circuit diagram as per the connections in the circuit. So suppose I1 is the current passing in this loop, so I1 will become 6 upon 8 plus 4, that becomes 6 upon 12 or 1 by 2 ampere, and so the voltage across 4 ohm resistance will become 4 into 1 by 2 or 4 into 6 upon 4 plus 8, and this comes out to be 2 volt with the polarities which are shown in the diagram. As per that it will be there. So we have found this voltage V1 which is 2 volt due to the 6 volt voltage source acting alone in the circuit, and the current source is made open circuit this time. Similarly, in the next case, what we do, we consider the current source of 3 ampere only, and at the same time the voltage source of 6 volt which was there in the circuit, that is made short circuit, so that after short circuiting this voltage source, the voltage of this source becomes 0 and no current can be supplied due to the voltage source. So the circuit will be as per the diagram shown in the slide. So here we see 8 ohm resistance and 4 ohm resistance. Now they are connected in parallel with the 3 ampere current source. So current of 3 ampere which is supplied by this current source, that will be divided in 4 ohm resistance and 8 ohm resistance using parallel current division rule. So suppose the current which is going through 4 ohm resistance, that is I3. So we can find this current using parallel current division rule. So this current can be written as I3 equal to total current, that is 3 ampere into 8 ohm upon 8 plus 4. So this is written there, I3 equal to 8 into 3 upon 4 plus 8, and this comes out as 2 ampere. And as per the circuit arrangement, this current I3 will be going vertically downward, and due to this a voltage drop V2 is taking place across the 4 ohm resistance with the polarity shown in the diagram, that plus terminal will be the upper terminal of 4 ohm and the negative terminal will be the lower terminal of 4 ohm in this circuit. So V2 is equal to 4 into I3, and that becomes 4 into 2 equal to 8 volt. So the voltage due to this current source acting alone in the circuit across 4 ohm resistance is equal to 8 volt. And earlier we have found the voltage across this 4 ohm resistance when the voltage source was considered only. That time the voltage was 2 volt and now the voltage is 8 volt. So as per superposition theorem, the voltage across 4 ohm resistance will be given as the algebraic sum of these two voltages V1 and V2. So we can write V equal to V1 plus V2, and since both the voltage are having similar polarities, so these two are added up and the resultant voltage becomes 2 plus 8, where 2 is V1 and 8 is V2. So this becomes 10 volt. So that way we see the voltage across 4 ohm resistance comes out as 10 volt using the superposition theorem, which we can also find using the other methods previously discussed, and we will get the same result with the help of those methods also. So that in that way we can solve any circuit with the help of superposition theorem if the conditions which are required, they are satisfied for the circuit. Now next, if we see certain limitation that is also there in the superposition theorem, that the superposition theorem is not applicable to the power. That means if we want to find the power in any circuit or energy in any circuit using the superposition theorem, we cannot find. And the simple reason for this, or the simple answer for this, is that power is a non-linear function for the voltage or current, since power is given by V into I, or it is also given as I square into R or V square upon R. That's why power is a non-linear function for current or voltage. That's why superposition theorem cannot be applied for finding the power. As per the conditions, superposition theorem is applicable for linear circuit. So here the derivation for that or the proof for that is also presented, why the power cannot be found using the superposition theorem. It is written first that the superposition theorem does not apply for the power calculations, as the power is proportional to the square of the current or square of the voltage. Like in this example also we can see one resistance R that is there in the circuit, and first time a current I1 is going or passing through this resistance. So the power is I1 square into R in this resistance, that is suppose P1. Second time a current I2 is passing through the same resistance R, and the power due to this, that becomes I2 square into R. So as per the superposition theorem, the power will be P1 plus P2, that is I1 square R plus I2 square R. But if we say it, it is wrong, or it is not the correct answer for the power. Reason being, if we find the resultant current in this resistance R using superposition theorem, so that current, suppose it is IT, that is given as algebraic sum of the two currents I1 and I2, or IT equal to I1 plus I2. So the power in the resistance will be given by the resultant current in R, that is IT square into resistance R. So Pt is equal to I1 plus I2 whole square into R, which is coming as I1 square R plus I2 square R plus 2 I1 into I2 into R. While due to current I1, the power will be I1 square R, which is P1 suppose, and similarly due to current I2, the power will be I2 square R, that is suppose P2. So this Pt, which is I1 square R plus I2 square R plus 2 I1 I2 R, that is not equal to P1 plus P2. So that way we see the power which we are finding using superposition theorem, that is not the exact value of power which should be there if we find the resultant current in this resistance using the superposition theorem, and then we find the power with the help of that current. That power is different from the power which we are obtaining using the superposition theorem. So that's why the total power must be determined or must be found in any branch of the circuit using the total current supplied in the branch, not by using superposition principle or superposition theorem. That is the conclusion drawn from this. Or we can also say, in other words, this is a limitation of the superposition theorem, that we are not able to find the power in the circuit with the help of superposition, or in other words we can say superposition is not applicable for finding the power in a circuit. Thank you.